Let's talk about difficult words to pronounce in English. And I know that there are many difficult words to pronounce, but today I want to have a look at 10 different words and really try to understand why these words may be a little challenging for English learners. Let me introduce myself. My name is Wes. This is Interactive English. The channel's all about trying to help you practice and improve your English skills. And today we're going to work on your pronunciation and have a look at 10 different words. And as we look at each word, I'm going to say the word several times. You can practice with me. I'm going to give you both the phonetic spelling and the IPA so that you can actually see the pronunciation. I think that will help. And really, the purpose of this lesson is not just to help you say these different words correctly, but also get you thinking about, well, what are some words in English that you find difficult to pronounce, and try to understand why. And if you know of some words, let me know. Write them in the comments down below. It really gives me an idea as to, well, what words I should talk about in future lessons. So let's just begin with the first word that I have for you, which is applicable or applicable. I just gave you two different pronunciations for the same word. Yes, that does happen sometimes. Both are okay. Both are accepted. The word's going to have 4 syllables. The difference is really, well, which syllable is going to get stressed. So applicable, the stress is on the first syllable. Applicable, the stress is on the second syllable, and I hope you can hear that difference. Now, the word is going to have the schwa sound, and I want to take a moment to tell you about the schwa because, well, many of these words have the schwa. It is an unstressed vowel sound, and it really just sounds like So when I say applicable, the schwa, you hear that in the third and the fourth syllable, applicable. If I say applicable, you now hear the schwa in the first syllable as well. Applicable. And when I find that there are words that have 2 pronunciations that are accepted, I often think about, well, what do I typically say? I think that I would generally say applicable with that schwa and that first syllable and the stress on the second. Applicable. That's what I would do, but either one is okay. And then we come to pronunciation. It's a word that I've already said, well, a bunch of times in this lesson, but it's also a longer word. It has 5 syllables. The stress is going to be on that 4th syllable, that A, pronunciation. The first 2 syllables have that schwa sound, but I think probably maybe a little confusing is that CIA. It's actually really divided into 2 different syllables, that C-A, and then it ends with that T-I-O-N. You should know that when you see that letter combination at the end of a word, it's going to be pronounced as shun. Pronunciation. And a fun little pronunciation rule for those words that end with T-I-O-N, the stress is always going to be on the syllable before the T-I-O-N. So in this case, it's that A, that is the stress, pronunciation. Then we have the word lettuce. It has 2 syllables. The stress is on that first syllable, lettuce. And I think it can be a little confusing. The C has really an S sound in that final syllable, lettuce. And the other thing I wanted to say about this word is that the T, I am going to pronounce it with more of a flap T sound because I'm from the United States. And the flap T, it's more of a D sound. And you would hear that when I say lettuce. Lettuce, even though with the phonetic spelling, I still used a T, but it's something to keep in mind. It's pretty common for people who are from the United States. So I would say if I want to make a salad, I need to go buy some lettuce. And then we come to the word suggestion. It has 3 syllables and the stress is on that second syllable, but you probably already knew that because before I told you that when the word ends with T-I-O-N, that shun, the syllable before is going to be stressed. So suggestion. But the one thing I wanted to point out with this word is that second G, that G-E, those sounds blend together and you get that voice, that J sound, suggestion. And I have a suggestion for all of you if you would like to improve your pronunciation. I think the most important thing that you could do is just speak. And if you would like more speaking practice, then my suggestion is that you check out my speaking course called Speak Up. There's a link down below in the description. It's a 10-week course for intermediate to advanced speakers. Lessons are once a week. We talk about a variety of different topics, do different speaking activities. You'll talk to me as well as classmates from around the world. If you're interested, check out the link down below in the description. You can also use the voucher code SPEAK10 to get a 10% discount. And I hope to speak to you soon. Then we have Asterisk. And if you do not know what an asterisk is, it is this symbol right here. And the word has 3 syllables, and the stress is on that first syllable. That second syllable, you hear that schwa. And I think this word can be a bit difficult because sometimes people may just forget about that second syllable and really just say it as 2. But the word does have 3 syllables, and you gotta really listen for that second syllable with the schwa. Asterisk. Asterisk. Usually. Very common word, this adverb of frequency, and some people may say it with 4 syllables, usually. And you hear that schwa in the 3rd syllable, or people may say it with 3 syllables, usually. And that schwa is in the 2nd syllable. Now, I don't think the most important thing about this word is whether you say it with 4 syllables or 3 syllables. I think what I want you to take notice of is that SU. It's like those sounds, they blend together, and you have that zh sound. It is a voiced sound. You hear that vibration in your vocal cords, zh. Usually, or usually. So that's the important thing about this word is that zh sound. Usually. And again, I think about what I tend to say. I probably say it with 3 syllables most of the time, but that's just me. Well, that's what I usually do. Next is encyclopedia. And I chose this word because, well, it's a longer word. It has 6 syllables. And I think it's a great example of a word in which you really pronounce each syllable. And I think you should be able to hear all 6 of them when I say encyclopedia. Encyclopedia. It ends with that schwa sound. Encyclopedia. So it's a good word to know because I think it's pretty common. You're going to pronounce all 6 of those syllables. And then we have poignant. And you're probably looking at this word. You just heard me say it, poignant, and you're thinking that just does not sound right. This is a word whose origins come from French. It has 2 syllables. The stress is on that first syllable, but yeah, this is a great example of a word whose pronunciation just does not match the spelling. Poignant. You have a silent G, and then that A-N-T, it just sounds like yunt. Poignant. And if you don't know what this word means, it's talking about a strong feeling or just moving someone emotionally. Now let's stick with French words because I have another word for you, which is lingerie. And this is a word that was borrowed from French, and it is now a part of English, but the pronunciation is going to be similar to that of French, lingerie, which is why, again, the spelling does not match up with the pronunciation. The word has 3 syllables, and the stress is on that 3rd syllable, lingerie. The next word that I have for you is literature, or somebody could say literature. So you could pronounce it with 4 syllables or 3 syllables. With either one, the stress is on that first syllable, that lit. Literature or literature. The one thing that I wanted to point out with this word is that T-U-R-E at the end, it's going to be pronounced as chur. So you could say either one, literature or literature. I think probably the more accepted form of this word is with 4 syllables, literature. I do catch myself from time to time saying literature. I think sometimes when you're speaking, just normally you tend to reduce words without even thinking about it. So yes, I sometimes say this with 3 syllables. If you would like to improve your pronunciation and get more speaking practice, check out my speaking course called Speak Up. Because let's face it, that is the best way to really work on your pronunciation is just to get more speaking. If you enjoyed the lesson, please hit that like button. As always, thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.